our last race of the day have headed out onto the grid, and I'll tell you what, Jeremy, our cameraman's going to pan round. That's looking quite murky up there. That is not looking nice at all. I feared this was going to come for the modified Fords race, but I fear there might be a downpour for the classic VWs. A few of them have gone out on wets as a result. This might be a bit fun for our last race of the day and for the weekend, the VW Audi Championship. While I get my teeth back in, I'll hand you back to Andy and Scott to take you through the grid for our final race.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. Well, let's hope that this rain doesn't develop into anything too serious. It's still not wet from what I can see out there. I appreciate the rain is heavier than it has been for a while, but the track just doesn't seem to be taking the water, does it, in the way that you might expect. We'll see if that stays the case. We've just got to get through these 15 minutes without any major issues and without any seriously heavy rain, and that will be our 24th and final race of the weekend done and dusted. We've got the 3 Audi TT Cup cars at the front, Ross Stoner, Paul Savage and Jack McPhillips, but actually some of the quicker drivers, some of the quicker cars to be found in the VW Audi Racing Championship portion of the race, which was won by Paul Rodderson earlier on, and indeed Rodderson was able to get through and win the race outright, despite starting 10 seconds behind the Audi TTs. So Rodderson in the Skoda starting from the pole within that category, alongside Tim Evans, who arguably could have won that race had it been a lap longer. He was really eating into the advantage Paul Rodderson had in the closing stages. Ross Stoner, Paul Savage and Jack McPhillips then are your 3 TT Cup entrants. Then Paul Rodderson ahead of Tim Evans and John Wyatt. Then it was Tony Hunter and Paul Hoggins, Simon Tomlinson and Paul Dunningham 10th, ahead of Stephen Watson and Jonathan Halliwell. Then it will be David Richardson and Dawn Butcher, Andrew Dean and Matt Anderson, then Harley Young, Christopher Garnham, Mark Shepherd and David Lawrence at the back of the field. So the cars launch onto the green flag lap, and they will now take a look at what the conditions are like out there. It does seem to be the wettest part of the track has been up at McLean's and Coppice Corner. I'm not seeing any grooves being cut in, any surface water at this stage, so fingers crossed it's not too wet, and we'll get through the 15 minutes before the rain really arrives. And, well, Paul Rodderson hoping for a double. But if Tim Evans gets a good start here, Scott, I think he's going to have some serious ideas of maybe claiming an outright race victory.
The quicker of the TTs that gets it away. Alongside him, Paul Savage drops in second, Jack McPhillips third. They go down through Redgate. Let's watch what happens. Oh, and that was not a good start at all for Tim Evans. He certainly misread that start. And John Wyatt has had a fantastic start. Another couple of points gets the number of that one, but it didn't go. Had a little delay there. Good lead along for Stoner, breaking away from the TT Cup drivers once again. But of course that is only, it's not factual, it's just guesstimates. And that was the car, obviously, that led them away from the grid. That's the car of Ross Stoner. So we look down here, they come back through the chicane, and it is Stoner that's got away. Over the stripe goes Stoner. Still the second Audi there of Paul Savage. And here comes the Stoner. So Morrison's got away and then gone. The other TT is slipping backwards down the order. John White.
Well, it works. What a disaster. What a disaster. Yeah, it's been flaky. The last, well, it's the third meeting now where it's gone.
Is it? Oh wow.
But it's been going off at different points, not a whole lot.
This is race control. no cameras, no lights, no nothing. So relying on old-fashioned technology. Fingers crossed that's not the round training. Yeah. So you've got some bright green scored out and they're keen to have a go.
Well, back up to Donington Park. Apologies for missing the first half of this final race of the weekend. We had a power cut in the pit building everything went down, all of the timing and cameras in racing control, everything, including the Wi-Fi, which is quite important when you're trying to push out a live stream. Who knew? Anyway, we've got 6 minutes for the race to go, and we are hopefully going to be able to bring you the conclusion of this race, which is led by Ross Stoner on your screen now in the Audi TT, leading in the TT Cup portion of the race. And he's got an advantage over Tim Evans in second position. Paul Roderson is third. So Evans got ahead of Roderson then in the early stages and is leading that charge to try and catch the leading Audi TT. But it's a 18 second lead now that Ross Stoner's got over Tim Evans. So it's a handy advantage for Stoner, who's going really well in this second race of the day. And might this time, if he carries on like this, Scott, be able to hang on to win overall.
I think the slightly greasy conditions out there are certainly helping him in that sense, given it's giving a bit more of a pace advantage. There must have been some skirmishes that we probably didn't get a proper chance to see because we were trying to decide what was going on in terms of the conclusion of broadcasting's final race. Here is the battle going on for first, second and third in the Classic VW category, and then fourth, fifth and sixth with Tony Hunter ahead of, that is Shepherd, who's come for the back of the grid actually quite well to fifth position, and then Paul Hoggins in the Audi TT. It started as a Audi TT Cup spec car and has had some modifications to it to bring it out of that for more Classic VW spec suitable machine. Out of Redgate they come then. We've got not much longer until the final 5 minutes of the race, and I'm guessing the curfew is probably going to be 7 o'clock, which means we are below that. So they probably will flag this just about early so they can get the cars off. They might even do it in the next lap or two, considering that it is 4 minutes to go before the curfew, if that is the case. So you're looking right at the closing stages. So unless, touchwood, we do get a moment where one of these leading cars has an issue and it really changes up the order, you're probably looking at the checkered flag finishing order when they come through. I'm just going to peek out the window to see if I can where they are in terms of timing for the flag. So I'm going to be leaning over here and possibly screen most of the view of the screen, possibly not intentionally, to see where the flag comes out. The camera also will keep tabs of that as well. While Stoner turns his way through left and right. It's almost every time they go past the pits is a flag going to come out. Not this time, so they'll let them have at least one more lap to go through with the timer going through. It's now gone to 5 to 7, so we've now got possibly 3 minutes to go, or less than that, as the Classic VW battle continues to wind its way out of the chicane. Evans from Wyatt with a slightly more distant Paul Roderson in what you thought would have been a slightly more superior four-wheel drive, I believe it is the lead, Skoda Octavia, holding a distant third position. Yeah,
he might just not have a decent wet setup on it if it is that wet out there. Who knows? He's lost second place in the class actually since I last mentioned him to Wyatt, who has closed in now quite rapidly on Tim Evans. So this is the battle for the VW Audi Racing Championship win, basically. They might not have much chance of catching Ross Stoner now for the overall win, but as far as their individual class, and they do both run within the same class within that championship, this is for a race victory. There is the 42 of Dawn Butcher coming through the final chicane, with the 46 of Paul Dunningham not that far behind. But this is absolutely nose to tail then, Audi versus VW, and if they do start tripping over each other, there is half a chance still that Paul Roderson could get back involved in this fight.
He could do, unless the checkered flag comes out this time, which means he's running out of time and options. I did also remember that Rob did say there were some drivers in this race that opted to start on wet tyres, so maybe that's a factor, of course, if it's helping them in these greasy conditions. Now Ross Stoner turns his way through left and right. I'm looking at the window. Are they preparing a flag? No, so they're going to get them have one more lap at least. Again, I'll keep on doing that until we get a flag. Well, the time it says it's got 2 minutes 37. It might be this time by. We'll wait and see. There could be a slightly longer curfew. I'm not 100%. We'll keep going until we see a checkered flag in that sense. So Evans still from Wyatt, still from Roderson. He's keeping them honest. What's his times last time by? 1:21.7 for Evans, 1:22.4 for Wyatt, 1:21.6 for Roderson. He was the fastest out of the three, and he took 0.8 out of Wyatt that time by. So he's got the gap down to 1.3 seconds. But Ross Stoner, in erstwhile race leader, just not quite sailing away, but he's gliding away out in front. It's going to be an Audi TT 1-2 in the overall order. Of course, respective winners in their own categories. It'll be the Audi TT Cup win for Ross Stoner. It'll be the Classic VW Cup win for Tim Evans if he stays exactly where he is. I'd say second in that category is under threat, though, because if Roderson, who's trying to fight some slightly horrid understeer through the old hairpin in the middle of the corner, I would probably offer the fact that Roderson might have a possible chance to get past Wyatt if he's able to do so in the next half or lap or so. Again, I keep saying it, provided we get a checkered flag this time by or not. So down the back straight for Stoner. And I don't think even he was anticipating to be in the lead of a Volkswagen Audi Championship race since they've been a bit further back in some of the other races we've had. But Stoner through the chicane. Let's see if he's got this one to round it off towards the flag.
Yep, so Stoner out of the final corner. Still no checkered flag, so I think they're just going to let this run to its duration now. This would be the final lap anyway, so we're only going to go slightly beyond 7 o'clock. It has just turned 7 o'clock here at Donington Park, and so Ross Stoner with one more lap of the Donington National Circuit to conclude our trackit summer race weekend here. It's not felt all that summery at any point really, but at least the very worst of the rain does appear to have waited until the conclusion of the event. There's a bit of a storm brewing off in the distance, I think, which is probably going to make our drives home not that pleasant. But right now, Ross Stoner just trying to bring this race victory home under no real threat from those behind. Here are those behind. Tim Evans second and John Wyatt in third. They've really dropped Roddison again on this most recent lap. It seems to be that Wyatt has now found a bit of extra pace and has closed right back in on Tim Evans for the lead of the VW Audi Racing Championship part of the race. He's perhaps closer now than he's ever been, heading up through Starkeys and Schwantz Curve. Where can he make the move, if anywhere? McLean's is a possible passing place, but he's not quite able to slip to the inside there. It's all going to come down to that run to the final chicane, as so many races do here at Donington Park. Are we going to see a last corner change for the victory out of Coppice? Much tighter line there for the Golf as he comes off the corner. There is Ross Stoner meanwhile. He's going to win in the Audi TT Cup, and this time gets the overall win. It's a double win within his class, but this time he is the first car to see the checkered flag and wins the race outright. What about behind in the VW Audi Racing Championship? Tim Evans defending the inside into the final chicane, and I don't think John Wyatt's quite going to have the run, or is he? Pulls alongside the Audi, but no, the Audi gets through the gears better, and Tim Evans hangs on by the skin of his teeth to claim the victory. It was also equally close for third, look, as Tony Hunter almost got alongside Paul Roddison, and the rest of them start to file through behind, and including Simon Tomlinson there in 7th position. So Ross Stoner wins, but it was nip and tuck behind, Scott.
It was quite a tight way to end the final race of what's been a very long but very entertaining weekend for several reasons. Plenty of good racing, as Donington Park, as we said, always tends to lend, and I think it rings that statement true that Donington Park very rarely, if at all, produces a bad race. I don't think really today, this weekend, all 24 races, we can't class one of them as being even remotely bad. They've all been excellent for their own reasons, regardless of numbers of grid sizes, how many classes, whether it's a sprint or yesterday's club sport races being a pit stop race. The multi-class action was excellent, as was the single make stuff, and it's been excellent from start to finish. A few more cars coming towards the line to round things off. I think the last car to hit the flag will be Harley Young Scirocco, just going in the background. So yeah, I think once again Donington has once again certainly delivered in spades for BRSCC. There is officially the last finish of the last race of the weekend, as Harley Young will come to the checkered flag, and you can officially declare the meeting any second now over, because that's the last car across the line. So all finished, and that is the trackit BRSCC Summer Race Weekend. Well, summer in name anyway, and summer by season, not quite by weather. That's officially finished, and Ross Stoner wraps up with a TT Cup win and a Volkswagen Audi Racing Championship win to beat as well overall. So not a bad way to round out his weekend.
Nope, Stoner wins, with Evans winning the VW Audi Racing part of the event, with John Wyatt, Paul Roddison, Tony Hunter next in line. Mark Shepherd was a class winner in 6th, ahead of Simon Tomlinson and Paul Hoggins, and the rest of them filing through behind. An entertaining end to an entertaining weekend then here at Donington Park. A reminder that we've got more live streaming action coming in a week's time, just less than a week's time now actually. Saturday we will be at Anglesey up in North Wales for the 3rd and 4th rounds of the Fun Cup Endurance Championship, which will also be supported by lots of Caterham graduates racing. We've got the Fiesta ST240s and the Fiesta Junior Championship all making the voyage to North Wales, where hopefully we'll have some more enjoyable weather for them when we get there. From myself, Andy McEwen, and Scott Woodward in the commentary box, thank you for tuning in. We're going to head down one more time to the pit lane area to hear from Rob and our podium finishers.
Thank you, Andy. And as the rain starts to really fall here in pit lane, we have our VW Audi Championship runners, and no one better equipped to handle that race. I think experienced racer is Ross Stoner. I'll just grab a chat with him now. Ross, that was an exemplary performance from you in the TT. How was it out there?
It was getting slipperier. and I hate the rain. This is 40 years now going racing with my dad, and every year my distaste for the rain increases. So I was just trying to pretend that it wasn't really raining, try and brake at the same points and keep the heat in the tyres, and it seemed to work. I was waiting for some of the modified cars to catch me up, but it worked really well. And a big shout out obviously to my dad and Aaron, who's been helping us this weekend and really made a difference, so thank you to both of them.
The car looked planted out there and well driven.
Yeah. Like I say, this is year 40 of going racing, so I've had enough practice. But I don't like the rain in the slightest. And I've got to say a big thanks to my wife. Actually, she really helped, support and did all the stuff around going racing. So big thanks to her. And I better mention Daisy, my daughter, otherwise I'll get told off. But yeah, good result. Very pleased. Because in the last race, the engine mount came off, the intercooler thing came off, and it just started going backwards. So for it to stay together is a result.
Fantastic. Congratulations on a superb win. Our second place man in the modified TT. He's looks very happy with himself, certainly. It did get a bit tricky out there, didn't it?
That was really relief. Yeah, that was hard work because we went dries and Paul went wet. So Paul had a bit of a jump, but thank God for us, it didn't rain enough. So it was very, very tricky the last few laps, and Mr. Wyatt there was really on me at the end, so every credit to him.
But you've had a pair of second places, great results all weekend. You must be thrilled.
Well, that's first in class because that's a TT.
Yeah.
So that's a first for us, so we'll have that.
Definitely have that. Congratulations. Congratulations. A worthy winner, like I say, of the VW Audi ranks. Let's see where John Wyatt is. And a very calm and collected John Wyatt, second place in the VW Audi ranks.
Very happy.
You were happy earlier on that the car finished. Look at where you are again.
Yeah, one more place to go, that's it. But we're really happy. The car performed well, and in the changeable conditions, I love a bit of grease and a bit of wet, so it was good for me.
You certainly look like you were having fun out there.
A lot of fun. It was getting heavier towards the end, and I tried to get him on the last corner, but never mind. But really, drastic improvement. I really, it's been a good day today.
And so close to getting that win in the end over the line.
Yeah, we'll get there. It won't be long.
Well, congratulations. That's third place, second in the VW Audi Championship there for John Wyatt. Well, that's it from Donington Park as the rain starts to fall. The worst of it we've just managed to avoid. But from myself, Rob Lewis, and earlier from my colleagues Andy and Scott in the commentary box from Digitex and the BRSCC, we will see you very soon for another action-packed bout of proper club racing.